Hello. Good morning. My name is Andrea Mason, and I am the senior manager of Newark People's Assembly. I am grateful that everyone took the time to come out this morning for this program. If you would, please direct your attention to the monitors to my right and to my left at this time.
Angelia Johnson, I am the Assistant Manager of the Newark People's Assembly. This initiative was created to make your voices heard, and on this morning that will happen. This is a town hall meeting for the deaf, blind, vision impaired, hard of hearing. The mission statement for the Deaf Advocacy Group responds to the interests and deaf and hard of hearing individuals by promoting communication access, awareness, and opportunities in the greater community. The vision statement for the Deaf Advocacy Group envisions a community where all people experience equality, empowerment, and inclusion, leading full lives of possibilities. The core values for the Deaf Advocacy Group is as follows. We respect the principles of deaf culture and the wide diversity of the community we serve. Believe that communication access is a human and civil right. Advocate for the deaf and hard of hearing individuals' right to use sign language and other modes of communication based on their personal preferences. Honor the uniqueness of each person, connect people and build community, empower others by encouraging leadership, independence, and self-advocacy. Eyes Like Minds Incorporated is a nonprofit 501c3 organization established in March of 2014 in Newark, New Jersey. It was founded by Crystal Allen, a Newark native, to empower, enlighten, and innovate communities in New Jersey about vision loss and the available resources for people with vision loss. At its inception, Elm Incorporated was founded with the help of Nicole Wright and Ihsan Muhammad Esquire, along with the founder Crystal Allen, to introduce a unique pattern of advocacy for individuals who are vision impaired or blind. Our mission: to share awareness about the abilities and potentials of individuals with vision loss through advocacy and community outreach, comprehensive empowerment workshops, and awareness events. And their vision: to inspire advocacy by breaking down the societal barriers placed against individuals who are previously or currently experiencing vision loss. Our ultimate goal is to create a more accessible society for individuals who are impaired and blind so that they can live, learn, and work in equal opportunities. Thank you all and enjoy this wonderful town hall workshop on this morning. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for your attention. So at this time, I just want to let you know that Newark People's Assembly is a division of the mayor's office. We aim to bridge the gap in communication between the public and City Hall, its departments, agencies, and those individuals who work for the city of Newark. Without further ado, I will let you know that this community meeting is specifically for the city of Newark to learn how it is that we can help the blind, vision impaired, deaf, and hard of hearing to feel more comfortable in the city of Newark. It's all about feeling that your quality of life is great, and we need to just hear that from you. As our motto states, make your voice heard. So at this time, I'm going to direct your attention to these gentlemen and women to my left, and they will introduce themselves and tell their name, where they're from, and if they have a brief description or something that they want to announce to you, they'll do it now. I'll pass the mic.
Hi, Troy Walker. I'm from PSE&G. I'm a senior corporate supervisor at the company, so any questions, let me know.
And just be slow and clear, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Larky Kumi, and I'm here from New Jersey Transit Accessible Services to promote transportation by bus, light rail, train, as well as paratransit accessible services. This is for customers that have some form of disability to be able to travel to where they need to get to. I actually work in Access Link, and if you have any questions or concerns, I will do my best to answer your concerns. For any other concerns about transportation, bus, rail, light well, I can also take your concerns and get that to the correct department. Our table is also over there, so please feel free to visit us as well.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out. I am Dr. Bernice Davis. I am the Executive Director for the New Jersey Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Our mission at the Commission is to promote and provide services in the areas of education, employment, independence, and eye health. And we do that through informed choice and partnership with persons who are blind, vision impaired, and deaf-blind, and with their families and with their communities. We actually offer services throughout the lifespan, infants, all the way to seniors, 55 and older. And if you would like to learn a little bit more about our agency, we do have a resource table to the left. So thank you. I will be around for a while if you have any questions. And thanks again for coming out today.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal Allen. I am a Newark native. I'm also legally blind, and I am the co-founder of a nonprofit here in Newark called Eyes Like Mine Incorporated. We meet each Saturday at the Vincent Lombardi Center of Hope between 1 and 4 p.m., doing a variety of things that empower vision impaired individuals. But we also welcome those who are not visually impaired to bring a little more awareness to what vision impairment and blindness relates to. The Lombardi Center is located at 201 Bloomfield Avenue in Newark, New Jersey, off of Parker Street. It is wheelchair friendly. And we have a host of different programming, from our audio book club, a support group to adjustment to vision loss, general membership meetings, and some of our major stapled events such as Dancing with the Blind, which is a dance fit program for individuals who are visually impaired and blind and sighted individuals. Our Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant, an empowerment platform for women who are visually impaired and blind, and our annual resource fair, where it's open to the community to gain access to different resources related to all areas of their quality of life. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Hill. My name is Elizabeth Hill. I'm the Director of Division of Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. I'm deaf myself. Thank you for having me today. Our office is mission to educate, promote, access, advocacy. We have a lot of programs. Our office is very small. We do a lot of work for the state of New Jersey. We can provide community outreach, booth, training. We have staff here. She will explain more about the training that they offer. We have hearing aid programs and projects. Equipment that we're going to be giving out as well. They give out as well. We have a new program, Level the Playing, that provides ASL language development for children ages from 0 to 5. So that will help that exposure to learn language as a child growing up, as they get ready to go into school. We have hard of hearing specialists, deaf specialists, communication access department as well there. Many times, doctors, other offices and agencies, lawyers call our office to how to find interpreters, how to be able to get court service. They call our office, then we help them find those good match for those services, for accommodation for those who are deaf and hard of hearing. We have a lot of calls relating to that. Any questions about the DDHH? Feel free to come up to ask me or her staff. She's going to share but what she does in a minute. She's the businesswoman in their office. She's going to come and share at this time. Hello, hello. My name is Jacqueline Brown. I'm a deaf language expert for the deaf and hard of hearing. I do a lot of advocacy training all over 21 counties in New Jersey. I provide sensitivity training with language involving any organization in medical, legal, social services. The list goes on. I travel all over 17 counties. I travel with social service, making sure they understand how to work with deaf and hard of hearing and deaf-blind people as well. Also, work with children, daycares, schools, advocate with the community, make sure they get their rights, involving doctor's office, involving lawyers, or problems or any issues that they have relating to those services. I want to thank the Deaf Advocacy Group for inviting us here today. Really a local activity, local activism to be able to make activists for those who services for. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the City of Newark for having us today. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tyson Haley. I'm the president and founder of Deaf Advocacy Group. This was started a year ago as we do the work for the community. We educate, we empower, we teach those deaf and hard of hearing individuals to be better citizens, to be able to advocate for themselves. It's the important reason why the things that happen in our city that we don't know. But we are grateful for this great Mayor Ras Barak and his city to help make the city all as one and learning each other with deaf and blind. So we really commend our mayor for his hard work. We love you. We love you. And this was a long time coming. We want to thank Reverend Roundtree, the Religious Affairs. She's really the start of this because she met us 5 years ago when the Deaf Ministry started. We had our 5th anniversary and she was there and she saw the need and she got us connected with the office. And so we're excited of great things that's getting ready to happen. And as the city becomes the best city in the state of New Jersey and the United States. Thank you again. I forgot. You may not have a lot of deaf people here this morning. There's a funeral for one of our deaf members this morning. It's held in Orange. So unfortunately, a lot of the deaf members are not here. So we are split half and half. So I was there last night, and so we just did a switch so we can make sure we have a support of this. This is what's on the schedule. So deaf comes when it comes. We don't know the time nor the hour. We just have to be ready.
At this time, we'll continue with the introductions.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Chief Jose Gonzalez, Newark Department of Public Safety, Police Division. We're here to, as always, trying to figure out how we can best serve our community. Thank you.
Good morning. Kareem Medine, City of Newark Department of Water and Sewer. Provide safe water and convey sanitary sewer to the Sewage Division.
Good morning, Kenyatta Stewart. I'm the City of Newark Corporation Counsel, essentially the head of the law department. We give legal advice to the city.
Good morning. Dr. Mark Wade, Director of the Department of Health and Community Wellness for the City of Newark. We provide health care And I was fortunate to have a wonderful meeting with Crystal Allen, representing the blind and visually impaired, and Brother Tyson, representing the deaf and hearing impaired. And I'll have an opportunity, I think, after the introductions, just to share a few things that we're going to be doing from the health department to better serve our two communities here.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Gonzalez with PSC&G. I'm with the Public Affairs Department. I'm here. I support all the elected officials, and I'm here with Troy to support the community as best we can from a PSC&G transactional perspective and community supports perspective. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Singleton under the Department of Engineering, and I'm the manager of traffic and signals. So I'm here to support your needs and anything as far as traffic related. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Philip Scott. I am the director for the Department of Engineering, and I'm here to assist in any way that we can.
Good morning. My name is Brian O'Hara. I'm a captain on the police division, and I'm responsible for implementing the consent decree in the Newark Police Department. So I'm thankful to be here this morning because a big part of that process is ensuring that all members of our community have a voice and have a say in implementing new policies and new training for our police department. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Latasha Taylor. I am a lieutenant with the Department of Public Safety. I am currently assigned to the Communications Division, which is the call center where all calls for non-emergency and emergency police fire and EMS calls are received and dispatched.
Good morning. My name is Khalif Thomas. I'm the Public Works Director, and we provide services of garbage collection, street sweeping, potholes, snow removal, leaf collection. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm here.
First, let me try this. Say, what's up? My name is Mayor Baraka, right? Nice to meet you. So, I'm working on my signing. So hopefully the next time we have a meeting, I'll be one step a little better. I want to thank the People's Assembly for bringing this together, and all of the directors for being here, and all of you for being in the audience as well, bearing with us to try to figure out how to make our community better, more whole, right, more unified, and able to service all areas of our city. So thank you.
Thanks very much. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge Pastor and First Lady Monroe. If you want to say a couple words, I put you on the spot.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. How's everyone doing today?
I'm sorry.
And good morning to everyone here. This is just also an awesome opportunity to learn so much and to see what God is doing in the city of Newark. And I was really excited to see our mayor communicating with sign. That is absolutely amazing, and it shows his commitment to the people. So can we just applaud him with that? That's incredible, incredible. But I'm the pastor of Chosen Generation Ministries, and we are one of the, I believe, only ministries in the city that has a deaf congregation right now, and we're looking to expand that. We found out that there were over 12,000 deaf individuals in the city, and they need to have the support from the spiritual side of life as well. And so we decided to make a church that was deaf-friendly, so that all congregants from all walks of life, no matter what your background is, can come to a place and worship freely. And so we have now bridged the gap. And so our congregation, that are those that are hearing, has embraced those that are deaf. And you can't even tell when you come to the church that there are deaf as opposed to those that are hearing. We are just all one family, and that's what it's all about. And I believe that that's what these town hall meetings are all about, to know that we are all one family and that we have the support of our city government, great staff. We have the support of our spiritual components in the city. A lot of the other pastors are now beginning to embrace deaf ministry into their congregations. So we're really excited to see the change and the transformation happening. At one point, we were just hearing that they were deaf, but we were not listening to the deaf. And so I found it important that we learn how to communicate. So even I have now taken on the ability to learn how to interpret to the deaf, and it has really changed my life. So again, we just say we're expecting great things on today. We're excited about what God is doing, and we're about to change the city of Newark. And the city of Newark is about to change the entire nation, because I believe that great things are going to happen because of what people are seeing us do here. So once again, God bless you, and thank you for the opportunity to just share. And we're just excited. Amen? Amen. God bless you.
Thank you. So to Pastor Monroe's point, a few months back in May, we had a public safety series that was hosted by Newark People's Assembly. And that's when we became aware that the deaf community, the deaf and hard of hearing community, didn't feel like they were included in the city of Newark. We were raving about how crime was down and how we were distributing a whole bunch of fire detectors. And you could tell from the passion in their signing that they were just truly upset. They wanted us to know that none of that stuff helped them. We had no idea that, they weren't being served by us. The smoke detectors that we were giving away didn't have flashing lights, so it didn't help them at all. When arrests were being made, they weren't handcuffing in the front. They were handcuffing in the back, so they were taking their voices away. There were no signs in the street throughout the neighborhoods to just alert drivers that there was a deaf person in the area. So those are some of the complaints, just a few of the complaints that were shared with us back at that May public safety meeting. And that's really what started our commitment to make the city more inclusive. Prior to that meeting, I don't know that we even realized your perspective or those of others. So I thank you, Pastor Monroe and First Lady. I always say it, just for opening your church. Reverend Roundtree actually made the connection, and that was nobody but God. And so I thank you, forever grateful for meeting Tyson and Deaf Advocacy Group. And also, once we shared those sentiments with the mayor, he said immediately, let's not just have a town hall or have a meeting just with the deaf, but there are other differently abled populations also. Let's do it with the deaf and blind at first. And we understand there's many populations of differently abled in the city, but this is just the first of many that we will help to become more inclusive. At this time, I want to, for some of the directors who have actually had accomplishments, some of which I've named, to just speak a little about what your department or your division has done to make our city more inclusive. We'll start with Dr. Wade.
Good morning again. As a result of the town hall that was held in July, we were immediately impressed that the health department had to be more focused in the delivery of services that we've promised to the entire city, but now had to make sure that we deliver these services to our deaf and blind community. So I was very fortunate through the arrangement with Andrea Mason, I think, to have an excellent meeting with Crystal and Tyson last week, where they were able to talk with my leadership and myself for nearly 2 hours about the needs of the deaf and blind community. As a result of those discussions, we've made several commitments that I want to share with you. Firstly, before this month ends, The health department is going to have an all-department staff meeting where Crystal and Tyson and whomever else they choose to bring is going to come and have an hour each to educate our staff, sensitize our staff, and help our staff to be more familiar on a personal level of the needs of our community, and then it helps to guide our institution of changes that are going to be recommended. Secondly, though we already recognize that we need to and will and do provide the support if a deaf or blind individual comes, and we will continue to do that and enhance that capacity, but we also want to dedicate certain days and times of the week in our clinical setting where focused attention will be delivered to you, so that, for example, if a Thursday or Thursday afternoon is for the deaf community, everyone who's coming will be that population, and we'll make sure we'll have extra hands on deck to make sure those services are delivered. I do want you to know we've already engaged in conversations about bringing visual services and screening to the health department, and I believe those have already been initiated with the Institute for the Blind, and we'll continue to do that. Again, our goal is to make sure that you have available to you through our health department that has a federally qualified health center or a clinic setting where all of the services from pediatrics to adult medicine to OBGYN to dental, as well as subspecialty services, can be offered to you so that you can be ensured that if no place else, you can receive those services from the health department. It'll do three things. It will, one, it will manifest the vision that the mayor has and that you have requested. Two, it will give us an opportunity to truly meet your needs. And again, hopefully, it will then spur other healthcare deliverers to follow suit and do the same. So we look forward to working with you and look forward to continuing this relationship. Please do not be bashful in letting us know what you need, and you have two wonderful champions already through Tyson and Crystal who will make sure that the message gets to us, and we will be open to have any meetings with you to make sure that we are on track with the delivery of these services. Thank you.
Good morning. With PSC&G, I want to make sure that the communities are being served appropriately. So if there's an opportunity for PSC&G to do better in our customer service centers, in our call centers, and I do have Troy here who can talk a little bit about how we interact with the hearing impaired through our telephone system, but we also have a customer service center in our Newark area, and I would like some feedback as to how we're interacting with this community. Because if we can do better, that's my job, is to bring that back to our organization and improve those services that we have. So I look forward to hearing from everyone, and I'm looking forward to help. I also want to mention, I don't know if anybody's here from Newark Beth Israel, but you know, PSC&G is going to be supporting their Men's Health Night. That's going to be at the Newark Marriott Hotel. It's for all free screenings for everyone, and they're also going to have a tailgate party as well and a football game. So I encourage everybody to come out for these free screenings that Newark Beth Israel is having on November 4th at the Marriott Hotel at the airport from 5 to 9 p.m. Thank you.
Hello, hi, I'm Kim Singleton, the manager of traffic and signals underneath the division. The manager of traffic and signals underneath the division of okay, you can hear me? Sorry. Department of Engineering. Okay. What we did was, from the last request, there was a lot of concerns about signs for the hearing impaired. So we had installed a few locations that was requested. Also, one of my concerns is the routing of the blind, because we want to install audible crossing signals at different intersections. So I'm going to just ask the People Assembly just to get a address on your routes that you use every day, so that way we can implement putting these audible signals in. So I'm going to pass this over to the next individual here.
Good morning. Again, I'm Captain O'Hara from the Police Department, and I just wanted to highlight that the Police Department has always had policies in place in terms of providing some very basic services, right? Like we have the ability, we have TDD in our communications center, which Lieutenant Taylor can speak more about. We've always had a policy that requires use of interpreters when taking formal statements and that sort of thing. But what the City of Newark has done recently is we've renewed our commitment to being inclusive with all communities and putting in place policies and trainings that ensure our officers consider certain disabilities when we are interacting with all members of the community. For example, in emergency and very stressful situations, we have trained all of our officers to ensure that they are aware that just because an individual does not necessarily respond to commands doesn't necessarily mean that they are being defiant. It does not mean that they are purposefully disobeying an officer's order to stop, to halt, to show their hands, and that sort of thing. And it affects not just the communities that we're talking about here today, but all the other thousands of other persons who have other disabilities, developmental disabilities and so on. So we've renewed our commitment in that way to ensure that our officers are considering all the possible scenarios that they're faced with in very stressful situations, just to ensure that there are no tragedies, to minimize the risk of any tragedies occurring. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Lieutenant Taylor. Just to speak on the TDD system, the way it's set up. And once a call taker receives a call, there's a special tone that they're trained to recognize. They in turn click on a tab that's connected to an operator. There's a list of auto-populated questions that are set up in a way that they can communicate with the caller. At that time, they are to remain on the line. If it's for fire, police, or EMS, they are instructed to remain on the line until that call is completely serviced. And they also have to prepare a report indicating what was done with the call.
Hello again. My name is Director Thomas. One of the good things that Andrea brought to us, and we've been in conversation with Department of Engineering, is that we have a lot of big pieces of equipment such as garbage trucks and street sweepers that travel throughout the city. In those areas that they put signs up, we're going to have a new light package that's going on our garbage trucks to show more lights for the people that can see the lights, and there's going to be some audible items on there, so for the people who can't hear, they can hear those trucks that's coming down the street. Thank you.
Any other accomplishments want to be discussed right now? Okay, at this time, Dr. Wade does have to leave, so we're going to open the floor specifically to questions regarding the health department, if anyone has any questions for the health department. So his presentation was A1. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Dr. Wade. We look forward to continuously working together to make sure that the health department is more inclusive. At this time, I want to bring to the front and shout out one of our newest directors and deputy mayors of the city of Newark. Put her on the spot, Ms. Allison Ladd.
Good morning. I am Allison Ladd. I am the new Director of Economic and Housing Development for the City of Newark. It's great to be here today. This is a really important event for me to attend today. My mom is, I think she's about 77, and maybe she is young. And about 20 years ago, she started having hearing loss, and it was becoming more severe. And she can still hear today, but she reminded me on a regular basis that I needed to be mindful of how quickly I spoke when I was talking with her, and also that I looked at her in her eyes when I was speaking, because she could read my lips. And that really started me understanding how I needed to be more aware of how I communicate with other people that may have different levels of hearing or just differences in perspective. And so I'm really glad that I was able to come here today and talk with you. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about economic and housing development and how we may work with you or how we may help you. There's a few areas in which I thought I would highlight today. One is home ownership, buying your house, or renovating your house. We have at the city a program called Live Newark. Live Newark helps people purchase their first house. It provides $5,000 of down payment and closing cost assistance to first-time home buyers. Live Newark also has a second component that helps people who already own their house renovate their home. Sometimes we need a little assistance when we're trying to get a new roof or improve a driveway or just trying to renovate our own home. And in our city, we have the ability to help you, and we have programs that can help you both buy a house but also stay in your home. Second, we have a division that handles rent control and also helps limit the number of evictions in our city. This division is able to help people who may have a rent that might not be at the right level. Those units that are under rent control, there's a limitation about how much your landlord can increase your rent. And if you feel as if your landlord is increasing your rent too much, you can reach out to our office and we can talk with you about your rights to ensure that your rent is at the right levels, and also that if you were paying too much, that you have the ability to get a rebate. On the other side, we're about evictions, which is really about how we help keep people in our house, because that really helps prevent homelessness if we ensure that people get to stay in their home. And when we're renting, it is still our home. And for renters, we have a new office that the mayor established in the last year called the Office of Tenant Legal Services. It's a very long name, but the real key part about the Office of Tenant Legal Services is that we can help you if you feel as if you're being evicted and it's unlawful. And we have an ability to help you at a time when we are all most vulnerable and if we're afraid that we will lose our home. And so there's a way for us to help families and individuals who are trying to stay in their house, and we can advocate on your behalf. A third piece is maybe you're looking for a new place to live. You're looking for a way to find a new community, some place that might have different amenities, might be closer to a school that you want your kids to go to, or maybe there's a great park down the street. We have many opportunities that we can share with you about how you can find new housing that's affordable for you, and we can help you see what where the locations are, and also how you can apply. Two more items. This is all about development. So some of you might be interested in being a real estate developer, or maybe you're interested in buying a piece of land in the city and you want to renovate it or build something for yourself so you can live in it and be your own builder and homeowner. Well, the city, as you know, we own a lot of land in the city, and we have a way for you to purchase the land from the city. And that's something also that the department I work in provides. And then lastly, planning and zoning, which is really about the future of our city and how we're planning ahead and taking into account the vision of the mayor with Newark Forward, inclusive growth, inclusive opportunity, and being equitable. And so our planning and zoning office can help you if you are trying to figure out that you wanted to buy that piece of land from the city, but you wanted to know, well, what can I build on that land? Is it commercial? Is it residential? Or is there a process I have to go to if I want to change it from residential to commercial? The answers to all that are we can provide that information to you, and we can also give you the process by which you can make any changes so that you can own a part of the city of Newark. So as I was closing, I wanted to share that there's really 3 ways you can find out this information from us. One, in person. So you can come to City Hall, 920 Broad Street, come to 218, and we'll make sure you have a person that you can speak with about any of your questions about the items I mentioned. The second way is maybe you want to make a phone call, and we have phone numbers. The main number, we have a phone number that I'll give you, and you can give us a call, and we will connect you to the right person who can answer your questions. And that phone number is 973-733-6575. So the number is 973-733-6575. And the third way is you can go online. You can find out information from your home or from your mobile device, and you can access information through our website. And that website is a little long, but it's www.newark.nj.gov/departments/economic housing. So I'm really happy again to be here. I will stay, and I'm happy to answer questions. And if I needed to share any more of those ways that you can reach us, feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to talk with you more. So thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
Thanks. And at this time, is there anyone that has a question for Manager Singletary? She does have to leave a bit early, so if you don't remember, she's the manager of traffic and signals. So she was directly the reason why you see those deaf person signs near Chosen Generation Church by quite a few of the residences of those individuals who are members of Chosen Generation Ministries. And if you are in need of a sign near your residence, please let us know so you can be added to the list. But before she leaves, is there anyone that needs to ask her a question? Okay, Ms. Bay, if you wouldn't mind standing at the mic.
Peace to the panel. Thank y'all for being here. My question is, I know that you have signs for the hard of hearing and those who are considered deaf, but what about those of us who are either impaired or blind? Can a sign be also put in front of our residents as well?
Yes, a sign can also be Yes, the sign can be installed for your residents as well.
All right.
I have a question for you.
You definitely
For
can.
the blind,
Yes,
I know
darling.
you guys crossing at different intersections. Is it possible I can have your route?
You certainly can, because that was another reason why I came today, and I wanted to be able to give you my route. I'm right off of Hawthorne Avenue and Osborne Terrace. I'm on West Runyon, so I'm actually 2 blocks. That's the route that I use.
Okay, and I know we have traffic signals there, so just so you're aware of, and we've been unrolling this, what we're doing is when you're crossing the light at the pet signals, we're gonna put in audible sounds.
That's what I
So you
need.
know when to cross and when not to cross for the blind.
I like that.
So
Thank you
that's
so
what I
very
wanted
much.
to know.
Appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Might there be another question? Sure. Mr. JC.
Hi, I was wondering, will those signs be on, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about signs. I'm talking about audible devices for Broad Street, Market, all the major streets, intersections. I'm talking about audible devices.
Just one moment.
Thanks. Yes, we do have signs installed on the major streets in the downtown area, on Raymond Boulevard, on Market, in several areas, and also by the train stations. But is it one particular area that is not installed that you know about? Because we have them all.
I'm just asking about audible devices.
Yeah, the auto devices, they're all installed on the downtown areas and also by the train stations.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Making my way over to you.
That's right.
Please state your name. I don't remember it. My apologies. That's right.
Lucius Jones. My question is regarding the handicap signs. What can the city do to waive the fee related to the registration as an accommodation to the residents that have disabilities in the city, instead of just, if you don't, forget to register, coming back and taking those signs away from the folks? And, you know, because a lot of times you have situations where when Uber is picking up or vehicles are coming up, that people can't even get to their cars, especially during snowstorms. So what can we do to waive the fee as a real accommodation under Section 504 and not charge people with disabilities who have permanent disabilities with those fees? Or make the recommendation to council?
Thank you.
The handicaps permits are now approved through municipal council, so we will have to discuss with the council on waiving the fees, because now it's an ordinance against it. So what we'll do is we'll have a conversation with municipal council to accommodate that.
Might there be another question for traffic and signals?
Well, I want to thank you for my sign by the Deaf Cafe. I need another one on Treat and William if possible, but the one on Bradford and Treat is up. So I really thank you for that.
You're welcome. You have two. You have one entering the block, and then you have another one on the, you have two already installed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. I just wanted to ask, might there be an opportunity with the audible signal signs that maybe residents who have vision impairments can maybe have like a list of where some of them are located, or if there was an opportunity to do like a tutorial lunch and learn, because if someone is blind who's traveling, whether they're a resident in Newark or new to Newark, they might not know how the signal might operate, and some of them have buttons on it, and you might not know where the buttons are right away, so you're taking time away from your travel to feel around on the device to figure out where it is. If there was an opportunity to do some kind of lunch and learn so that we're informed about where all of those accessible traffic lights are and how to operate them.
Yes, it is an opportunity to do a lunch and learn. Also, I will provide the list of where all the devices are installed at in the city.
Sure. So if you can get that information to me, I'll gladly share it with those individuals who are in attendance at this meeting, specifically to Eyes Like Mine organization and Deaf Advocacy Group.
Okay.
Another question? Oh, Tyson has a question.
I have a question. This question for traffic and signs. Thank you for putting the signs near Chosen Generation Ministries. Deaf people come both ways. You only put it by the beauty store where the ladies get their hair done this way. On, I believe it's not Hartford. What's the street? New Street. New Street. You put it there, but we need it on the other way from West Market near the fire station.
Okay.
Deaf travel that way too. To be able to be alert when it's coming down from West Market. It'd be easier to have it on both ways because deaf travels both ways on the street. So that's our concern that we have. Because you did one, but we thank you for the many that you have posted.
Okay.
Mr. Witten?
And Director Singletary, I'm not sure if I misheard you, but did you say that there's the audio signage is in the Broad Market area?
Well, yeah, it's actually in the push buttons. When you hit the push buttons,
Okay.
it will either chirp or it will talk. So it may say, you now can cross the street, you can cross Market Street, you can cross Broad Street, or you'll hear a bird chirp. That's how they work.
So I think what Ms. Allen had suggested, having those tutorials, because before you said that, I had no idea that was in operation.
Yeah.
And so maybe that can be part of the PSAs that, like, when the city sends out information through 4311, because I get a whole bunch of calls about the same thing. I mean, maybe those kind of calls can go out. And then also around 212 Washington Street, where the Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired is located, if there's signage, that is there, because there are a lot of consumers who come inside that building, and it would be very helpful for them. And like if the talking devices are like at Prince Street and Springfield Avenue, I mean, because it actually talks to you, it does the countdown, 20, 19.
That's
I mean,
exactly what it does.
and so then that way a person can know how long they have to cross the street. And if it can be in major areas in all of the wards, whether it's the North Ward, whether it's the East Ward, South and West.
Oh, yeah,
Be
fine.
awesome. And do you guys do Braille signs in in public buildings?
I don't know, in public, Braille signs in public buildings. Well, Braille signs in public buildings.
So that, and I say more so near the bathroom. So if a person is blind, I mean, they can navigate themselves to the bathroom. Because I noticed that they have like Braille signs at the McDonald's on Springfield Avenue.
Right, inside of their building.
Right. Right near the bathroom. So that's food for thought.
Okay, that's food for thought.
Mr. JC has another question.
This is just a comment for everybody. Crystal mentioned something about what'd you say, a touch and learn?
Yeah,
Lunch and learn?
Lunch and learn, on where the list was at.
To
and how to use them.
to build on that, because I might have to leave in a little while, but for everybody, I was thinking about a community access program for educating people in the community about people who are differently able, and the information that everybody here is giving right now. I'm so grateful that you're talking about the inclusiveness of people who are differently able. But I find that whether you read or have meetings like that, everything goes out like snail, slow. The information gets out there, but it gets out slow and surely. And I figured to enhance it and make it quicker, to have a community public program about people with different ables, and all the things that you have out here that you're talking about right now, but a lot of us you're not aware of. And as you make changes, people's going to have to know. And so I think it'll be a lot more inclusive, a lot more people would understand whether they have a disability or not. And that'll help people to engage with other people without being nervous, uncomfortable, and the way they approach them, jobs and everything. So I had gave Crystal a outline of what my thoughts are, and hopefully that she could share that with Newark, and I'm grateful. Hopefully that what you guys are doing here is spread out to other communities, because Newark is major, and I think they could affect change everywhere.
Do appreciate that comment, Mr. JC. And to your point, that's the purpose of one of Newark People's Assembly's purposes, to try to get that information out to the community. But what our challenge is, as you mentioned, there's not one telltale sign or way of communicating with the masses. So sometimes they're robocalls, sometimes they're emails, sometimes they're robotext. So if you could just elaborate for me on what you meant by have a community access, I would appreciate it.
What I mean, a community program, say, all right, I have a family and they don't quite understand that I don't need to be grabbed on or cross the street, or don't be nervous. I's free now, you know? And so the point is to help educate the community by having a public community program. So, you know, talking about people who are hearing impaired, educate them, talking about a person with any type of disability, blind, visually impaired, cerebral palsy, mental health, anything, the engagement with the community, with the police department, their abilities, the things they can and cannot do, the limitations, and it'll be just more understanding is spread. So, you know, everything helps, robocalls, emails, but I'm just thinking it'll be a lot more, those things and a lot other things that happen, it'll be a lot more effective if it's on television. Internet is good too.
So what I hear, and I think the way I interpreted it is awesome. So if on Newark TV, who's here now, taping this actual meeting, if we can have an hour-long presentation of sorts or a meeting where we do some kind of sensitivity training, okay. And we not just talk about the deaf and the hard of hearing, the blind and visually impaired, but we incorporate many of the other differently abled communities within that meeting. Duly noted. Thank you. There's a question over there. Would you mind going to that mic? Yes, please. I like that idea. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Hi, good morning. My name is Sarah Thompson, and I definitely applaud the mayor's office for this sort of meeting. This is a great platform from which community members can speak to the mayor's office and all relevant stakeholders regarding recommendations that we have moving forward to help include the deaf and hard of hearing, visually impaired, and blind communities. However, I have a few concerns about the transparency with which these sorts of recommendations are implemented. For instance, just even showing up and trying to be a voice for the community is a bit of a burden, right? I mean, this is my Saturday afternoon, I'm hosting friends, I have to go grocery shopping, I have to study, etc. And so really just showing up and trying to voice our recommendations is a bit of a burden on the disability community, as there are no other sorts of means of communications with the mayor's office related to our recommendations. In addition to that, especially regarding implementation of our recommendations, what is the guarantee that these recommendations will be implemented? You know, we show up, we suggest these signs or this sort of service, et cetera, And, the likelihood of the implementation of these recommendations, what is the guarantee that that is going to happen? For me, especially, I speak from experience as a Newark citizen. I've had several conversations with the NPD and actually Department of Traffic and Signals related to signage and lack of signage, especially related to like towing risk, risk of being cited, et cetera. And there's been absolutely no follow-up really on all of my complaints. I was bounced from one office to another. The NPD did send out an investigating officer, which I did appreciate. But I think a lot of that's because I sent multiple emails and I made multiple calls. And so my concern here is that, I appreciate the video, the PR publicity, I appreciate the talking points about inclusivity, but unless these actually translate to on-the-ground improvements for people in the disability community, I just hesitate to say that this is such a success, especially because, I follow up from the previous town hall. I sent an email outlining several recommendations. I was told that none of those recommendations was going to be implemented due to the lead water crisis and that those would be pushed back until January. But I don't know, I can't speak for the entire community, but I'm pretty sure that the lead water crisis adversely affected the disability community just as much as any other individual within the community. So, even related to NJ Transit, I know that I have a friend, Letitia Porter Von Smith, who sent an email regarding recommendations that NJ Transit can implement related to services, resources that the deaf, hard of hearing, and the blind and the visually impaired community can benefit from. There was no follow-up from that, right? There was absolutely no sort of even indication that the connection between the mayor's office and NJ Transit actually happened. It was really just email traffic and continued follow-up, again, from somebody within the disability community. There's really been no sort of proactive initiative related to the mayor's office and how that translates to on-the-ground service improvements for people in the disability community. As just another example, this morning, this town hall meeting was supposed to take place in another location. I showed up at that location, had to then find a way to get here. And when I showed up at the previous location, there wasn't signage. I mean, again, I can't speak for everybody in the community, but especially for the blind, visually impaired, there was no signage available for anybody who showed up to the town hall meeting at the other location. I've monitored email traffic. There was absolutely no indication on email traffic that there was a change in location, et cetera. I know that snafus happen, but to me, this was sort of an indication that there are several challenges that people within the disability community continue to encounter, that it can be insurmountable, especially related to the mayor's office and kind of the lack of transparency, lack of communication, and while I applaud this meeting, and I applaud the mayor's efforts to continue to include us as a voice within the community, just by showing up is a bit of a burden. And I'd like to see a little bit more initiative, a little bit more proactivity as to what exactly these improvements and services are going to be for people within the disability community on the ground. I'm again.
Ms.
I
Thompson,
don't.
I think we get your point. Thank you so much. So, okay. Pastor Monroe, and then I'll speak to it.
Thank you, and thank you for the comments as well. Very well taken and very well received. I will say this, this is a process, and it's going to take all of us to work together, and it's going to take time to make the process work. Now, I have seen some of the changes from the first town hall meeting personally. That's with the signs that has been installed. That's with some of the signals that have sound. Even when it comes to the water crisis, I think that our city government did an excellent job with discussing it at New Jersey PAC. And if he was there, I thought they did an excellent job. It takes a lot to put a presentation like that together. And being a scientist myself personally in my secular field, I know the efforts and the energy as well as the research that it takes to be able to address the questions that many people will have just due to fear. But I would also say that in the midst of that, what the city has done is they have supplied water the best that they could, and we had a lot of water coming in. So the communication was given that the residents were able to receive water to address that situation as well, which I thought was also awesome because even from our church, we was able to distribute. As far as the communication, I agree with what you're saying. If there was a change and the communication wasn't there, that is something we can learn from so that we can get better and make sure that that communication goes out. And maybe we can utilize more of the website, the city website, as well as the media presentations to just be able to make sure that we communicate that better. And I think we should take that information back to the team that is spearheading this, and so that we can improve upon communication to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But everybody's opinion is valuable and is very much appreciated, so I don't want anyone to think that we're going against anything or denying. But how do we improve? Working together, bringing these ideas to the forefront and on the table, and coming up with not just the issue, but let's come with some solutions. How can we improve it together? And that will make a difference. So just wanted to just kind of hit on that a little bit.
Thank you, Pastor Monroe. And I want to touch on a couple points. So first, Sarah, thank you so much for those comments. You sent a very lengthy email, which was absolutely fabulous because it outlined specifically what we can do to bring about change in the city. I did forward that email to those entities within the city that could make those changes. As promised and as said in previous meetings, this stuff can't happen overnight. So there is a process. That doesn't mean that nothing has happened, but it's probably just hasn't progressed to the point in which you want it to have in this amount of time. So we will continue. The email is still there. Actually, I haven't even filed it. It's still on my desktop in my inbox. So, I'll see it on Monday morning when I get to the office. So I'll review it. Fortunately or unfortunately, when emails sort of go down the list, they sort of get lost, but not really because it's a red flag specifically on that one. But things happen every day, so other things become priority. You have to sort of prioritize. But now that the water challenge is over and everybody can drink the Nork's water, run that water, flush it, use those filters, pick them up, pick up the cartridges if you need a replacement. We're encouraging that. So now that water challenge is over, I can personally start focusing on that email again. Also, I invite you personally to attend the meeting with Tyson and Crystal that we'll have in the health department, because there may be some things that you can say to them directly that would affect that change that you want to see happen a little quicker. I believe that's all I remember, and that pretty much sums it up. Oh, and regarding the location change, we found that out very early on, and everybody that was initially emailed, and if you are on Newark People's Assembly, if you're within the database, you definitely, if you read the emails, you definitely got the updates. I sent that stuff religiously on a weekly basis, and if you received the save the dates, at one point those were coming out every day and the address change was on it. So I do apologize if you went there, but rest assured, I made sure that there was signage, just like the ones here. There was signage there that said new location. At this time, Tyson? Excuse me.
Just want to iterate on some things. We have been sending out emails on that. There was a PSA that was done 2 weeks ago letting the people know that we are making the change of the location. The reason why the change of the location, lighting is key for the deaf community. The lighting was not the best place to have it. It's a beautiful church, but we got to remember the accommodation for those who are deaf and visually impairment. We want to make sure they have access going. And we did a tour, we did a walkthrough as a team, as a collectively. We made a decision to make that change to come here because it was easy access. There was not a lot of steps. There was, even on the sidewalk, there's like a hump with the cane. We want to make sure everybody was safe going in, and this was a place that we chose. And also, I just want to add to the Newark Police Department, we have trained 20 officers on September the 7th on how to sign in with the cops. We educated over 110 officers for Essex County from other areas, but we want to thank Newark Police Department for sending 20 officers to come and learn, but we are going to go back into it. We have more training that we're going to be planning, and so we're going to be doing that. That's a great initiative. I'll be meeting with the director in a couple of weeks, doing some more engagement on that. So the sensitivity training has been in place. I don't know if you guys was aware of it, but you have 20 officers that learned signing, and they got a certificate of completion on that. We want to thank that. That's from the Deaf Advocacy Group, and we want to help move this city forward in everything that we do. And we thank you, all of you guys, for taking out of your time on your busy schedule to make sure we do what we need to do to be a successful city. I just have one question for the developer's office, that the new development that you guys are implementing, are there developments units for those who are deaf and visually impaired, or are you going to make a mandate that they have so many that we can be able to get into those apartments or those units equally, because there's 1,200 in the city of Newark. Do you have a database on that? And we would like to be in those units to be able to help you, give you tips on what to look out from the deaf and visually impaired community. That's my question for you guys.
Here you are.
Good morning again, Allison Ladd. Thank you for the question. Just by way of background, I joined the mayor's team 2 months ago. I started on August 1st, and it's been really a great pleasure to be in the community and in a meeting like today, so I can hear the concerns that are being raised. So to answer your question directly, I don't know, but I can find out. Second, I would like to spend time with you or others to understand better what the needs might be here in Newark. I came from Washington, D.C. I spent 20 years in D.C. and Maryland doing similar community development, economic development, and housing. And there were similar interests, as you would suspect, in communities in both Maryland and D.C. And so what I would like to know better is what they are here in Newark, so that we can infuse that information into either current development and future development. So, so I have cards, and I'm happy to share that, and I'd like to meet with you as soon as we could.
May I?
Yes, Ms. Beck.
I don't know if she can answer the question since you just got here, so I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I will talk to my mayor. And I believe he can answer it, because he's the chief. I got a call less than, I'll say over a month ago, from Shaq's management people, because I made an inquiry that I was interested in his property, because it recently opened, for those of you who do not know, I think less than 2 months ago. And when I was told that they did not have any low income properties, they used to, it was a contract, but for whatever reason the contract was redone, and that it was $1,900 just for a studio. So I didn't need to know what a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom was, because I can't afford it. So I just was hoping, like I told the lady, that I would get the opportunity to speak to you to find out, when individuals are coming into this town who are developers who wants to build properties, I thought all of them should have at least several units for low income. So could you look into that for me? Because I'm truly interested, but their prices is their prices. I don't have no problem with that. But I was going to go back to Roselle, where I initially came. They too are kind of pricey. And I'm interested, and I just want to know, why are there no low-income properties? Nobody should be building anything in our city, I personally feel, without the consideration of some of us low-income residents. So that's it. I don't think you can answer that, but we will get the answer.
Thank you for the question. I can answer
All right.
some of the question.
All right, thank you.
First, the mayor did pass an ordinance with the city council about a year ago. It's called the Inclusionary Zoning Ordinance, IZO for short. That inclusionary zoning ordinance requires that 20% of new development that is, if it's new construction, it's 30 units or above, and if it's renovation, it's 40 units and above. So any project that's greater than 30 or 40 units, depending upon new construction or renovation, must include 20% affordable housing at the development.
As it should.
I think the mayor would agree with that too. And also I would say though is some of what we may be finding today as we're looking for affordable housing that's created through that inclusionary zoning ordinance is that it may not be available yet. And the reason for that is because the ordinance was passed a year ago. And so with that, we had to take into time construction. And so oftentimes construction takes 18 to 24 months. And so some of the developments that are required under the inclusionary zoning ordinance would not be available probably for another year and sometimes 2 years from now because it's under construction right now. And so what we're working to do is create a database with the information about which developments are coming online and be available so that you and others can track where the developments are across the city. And so I think that's an important piece. Just one other component is that, and it's different than inclusionary zoning, is when you're seeing new developments happen in the city and they're requesting some financial assistance from the city through a tax abatement or a payment in lieu of taxes or funding from the federal government, each of those developments also have affordable housing requirements. The percentage for those different developments changes. So if it's funded with federal funds, it's highly likely that almost 100% of that development is going to be affordable. If it's for tax abatement or pilot, it will follow more of the inclusionary zoning ordinance that I just mentioned. And we, with the mayor's direction, are working to ensure that those affordable housing units are on site. We want to make sure we're creating mixed income developments across the city so everyone has choice.
I appreciate that because the property management person did share with me where I could go outside of New Jersey and I mean outside of Newark, in particular Trenton, but I told her I didn't want to go that far. So thank you.
So Shaquille O'Neal's property, just to reiterate what the deputy mayor said, Shaquille O'Neal's property is outside of the inclusionary zoning of the city of Newark because it was built before or in the process of being built before the ordinance was established, but they have to have affordability in the property because they're getting state dollars and they have state requirements that are different from Newark's. Ours is 20%, the state may be less.
Okay.
Right, but they do have to have affordability in there, so I don't know what
I can give you the name of the person who called me and what she said.
Maybe they rented them out already, or maybe the percentage is low.
She said they had the contract, but they changed it, and she don't know why. She didn't get into it. I didn't want to go into politics. I thought you and your boys sat down and made a deal. I didn't know.
Let's figure it out.
But yes,
we'll call over there and figure out what's going on.
Yes, please do.
But ultimately, there's a couple of properties that have been built already. People are calling about those properties. So all the properties you see that are being built now will fall under inclusionary zoning.
Awesome.
Most of the ones that were built before or were happening while inclusionary was being passed are actually exempt from inclusionary zoning. The city's inclusionary zoning law.
I'm so glad you explained
But
that.
the state has their own requirements in terms of the money that they give to folks' projects. There's also a PLA agreement that is being voted on now that we're going back and forth with the municipal council that requires 50% affordability for developers if they want to be exempt from specific things. So there's opportunities for us to continue to put affordability in all of the properties that are going up in this city. I do want to say also that these town hall meetings that we have are not the only way that we engage with the differently able community. I apologize if you believe or if you're just accessing us through these meetings, because that's not how we. I've had at least a dozen meetings with Crystal alone and her crew in terms of the visually impaired, differently able community. Meetings with Tyson already, teaching me how to sign myself. These are not feel-good meetings, by the way. So they're not coming to meet with me to like praise or get free tickets or come to events or hang out. They're absolutely not doing those things. These are very serious-minded people who are talking about very serious issues. In fact, I always tease Crystal and them, the meetings that I have with them, their agendas are longer than any meeting I have with anybody else, in terms of all of the things that need to be accomplished and done. And I sat here and listened to all of the directors, this is probably their second opportunity to be at a town hall meeting like this. Some of them maybe their first. From the first time that they were here and the second time, and I was going to address them on Friday at our directors meeting, that they're making considerable progress in terms of the things that were said to them at the first meeting. They're actually moving on these things. From the signs that I remember at the first town hall I was at, we were getting hammered about. You said we was going to get those signs. Where are those signs? And now to hear that the signs are up means that there are people who are working on this stuff. From the police officers going to the class, learning how to sign, being involved and engaged, allowing the differently able community to come and be a part of the training sessions. It's huge. I don't think that has ever happened, not in my lifetime that I know of, but those kind of things that are going on in the health department and the kind of moves that they're making in the health department to make sure, even have specific days in the health department where they deal specifically with the differently able community. That's huge to me. And those kind of, it may not be enough, and I'm sure it ain't enough. It's a beginning of something that has not happened in a very, very long time. And, I can't, I'm not afforded pessimism, right? I'm not afforded. I don't have the luxury of that, right? I have to, in order to do what I do, I have to assume or be optimistic about our movement forward, and we have to stay on each other and struggle with these folks to make sure we get done what needs to be done, specifically in areas that they're not used to being engaged in, and most often take for granted, right? We take for granted that the things we're doing are servicing everyone, right? And many of us know that up here because we live in a country that's taken us for granted for a very long time. So at the end of the day, we know that the work that we have to do has to be steady, progressive, consistent work, and people have to stay on us to make sure that there's some deliverables on everything that people ask us for as we move forward. So we take this very seriously. So I don't want people to think that, we're just doing this, the hangout. We take it very seriously. And whatever, we're in these rooms and these meetings because people advise us to be in this room, to change the meeting places, to have it on these days, to do different things. So if there's criticism about that, we accept it. And if we could do better at getting more people out, I want to be able to do that. And if we could talk to more people, we need to be able to talk to more people at the same time. So please, any of these directors up here, if you have questions for them, use this as an opportunity to do that. Don't leave no stone unturned. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to them in the crowd, catch them before they walk out of here and try to deal with them that way. We have enough people in here that can interpret so you can have a full conversation with them. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I want to acknowledge Councilwoman LaMonica McIver, who walked into the room. Thank you, Councilwoman, for coming. And her Chief of Staff, Ms. Mitchell. At this time, Mr. Jaycee has a comment, primarily for Deputy Mayor Ladd, but also to public safety.
I have Beyond the Eyes Incorporation at the North Public Library. We meet. You hear me now? Do you hear me now? At the Newark Public Library, we meet. And I'm a guide dog handler. I didn't bring her today. At the Seeing Eye in Morristown, they have, when there's a fire alarm, we practice getting out of there quickly. There's high-pitched beeps. So when we hear it, we go right to that high-beat beep. Each floor has a different direction. Beep, 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 and you go, all right? Right here, if there was an alarm, that's one alarm, one sound. Somebody would probably have to grab me or yell out, over here, over here, over here. It would be hectic. But if you have them piercing, even at New Jersey Transit, when I go on them trains there, you hear all that screeching now. So when I get off the train to go to the door to get out, I'm just standing there paralyzed. And if somebody grabs me, I say, get your hands off me. But the point is, if I hear that beep to go to that door, then I'm out of there. So whether it be the Newark Library, whether here, whether a movie theater, they hear a beep specific for the people who are blind. They'll know where to go. A separate noise than the regular alarm, fire alarm. So I don't care whether it's a new development, a building like this, a public building, New Jersey Transit, movie theaters. I think that's a thought that, do you check out to Seeing Eye in Morristown or talk to the fire department? I'm sure something like that will be helpful.
Thank you for the comment, and I wrote some notes down, and I'll give you my card. Thanks.
So I also want to acknowledge, Crystal. Then I'll make my acknowledgement.
Hi, this goes to all of the directors up here. Well, I don't know if you were aware, but this month is National Disability Employment Month, and it's also officiated Blindness Awareness Month by the Governor's Office. And I wanted to know how many employees that you're aware of that have disabilities, because the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is at 70% and growing. And it kind of restricts us to live impoverished and not have the access to the training to have successful employment. And if there is like some opportunity where there could be job shadowing, training, something that will lead to successful employment to assist those who are interested in working, who may have disability, whether it's deafness, blindness, legal blindness, whatever it could be, because people with disabilities have families that they take care of. They could be a single family household, or they could be married and just not having that opportunity and have the same education as you. It could be a family who may have 2 master's degrees, 2 bachelor's degrees, and whatever other job talents, but they're just not given that opportunity. And there's so many great establishments that exist here in Newark right now. And if there was an opportunity where individuals who are interested in employment with any of your companies, like what would even be the process? And do you have equal access? Are you labeled an equal opportunity employer?
Yes, anyone want to speak to Crystal's comment? Anybody an equal opportunity employer? Follow-up needed. As of now, Crystal, no one raised their hand, so that means, the mayor.
So all these people up here have to be equal opportunity employers. It's the law, so they can't, they can't turn people away from employment because of their differently abled, whatever it is issue that folks have. They know they can't turn people away. I think the question is a different question, though. The question is about how are we deliberately and purposefully making sure that there are people employed in our departments that are differently abled. That's a different question, right? So, I mean, people probably in a differently able community might not feel the confidence to be a part of some of the things that we're doing, or feel like there's barriers between their ability to get employment with the city. And there's a whole lot of folks who we know already believe they have barriers. And we reach out to all kinds of communities very purposefully. We do that for veterans. We do it for folks that have been incarcerated. So there is opportunity for us to reach out to the differently able community and begin to identify folks. And what should happen, and I know Crystal has been beating me up about this a long time, maybe we should have, trying to get this kind of, and I think we did one, I'm not sure. We tried to get this positive recruitment with the differently able community. And we should probably do that with just the city and not just the outside agencies, because we tried to do it with just bringing outside agencies. So maybe we should do a city one where we begin to, put our positions that are available, that are becoming available for us, and allow anybody else organized with the People's Assembly and Tyson and Crystal and anybody else to come and put together a positive recruitment. Positive recruitment is just when there are jobs available, the companies usually come out with the help of Newark Works or the WIB, and we bring Newark residents to those things, and they interview people on site, and they hire them on site for jobs that are available. That's what usually happens when we say positive recruitment. So we could do something like that on the city side, positive recruitment, when we know that there are jobs available, to do one specifically for the differently able community. So we have to work on that. That's why nobody got up and said anything, because I think they understood the question the same way I did. Because one, they probably don't even know how many people in their department are differently able, right? The people, because we never did an inventory on that. And I think it would be smart for us to go back to our departments and try to do inventory and figure out how many people in you may be surprised. There are people in your department who may be legally blind, who may be hard of hearing, different kind of things. So it's important to find out, without being intrusive and abusive, who in your department may fit that description, and then begin to, let's try to do a positive kind of recruitment, begin to figure out how to pull people in, right? Maybe we could work with the Commission for the Blind, I forgot the agency that is similar to the Commission for the Blind for the deaf community. Deaf and Hard of Hearing is commission as well? Division, right. We can include that group also in the positive recruitment. But she said include Eyes Like Mine. It ain't gonna happen unless Eyes Like Mine is involved in it. I'm just saying that now, because full disclosure, this whole idea is Crystal's idea from the rip, and this is her way of telling us we better do it again.
Thank you, Mayor. And what you didn't say is we did a census employment specifically for the deaf and hard of hearing, blind and visually impaired, differently abled community.
So for PSE&G, if we do have a job fair for the differently abled, we'll definitely make sure our HR recruitment team will be there. PSE&G is also celebrating our Disabilities Month, as well as we have an employee resource group internally of our company that is only focused on differently abled. So I would bring them out to the job fair. I am actually going to be meeting with Crystal, I think next week. We're going to talk about hopefully an opportunity to do a lunch and learn at PSE&G, and possibly, if needed, some additional sensitivity training. So I'm pretty excited about that. Don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm learning here like everyone else. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps consider including the deaf and hard of hearing in that sensitivity training also. Yes. Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you all for for being up here. I have a question for the person in charge of the water department.
Oh, he just stepped out. He'll be back though, I believe.
Okay. Well, maybe the mayor can even answer this. I appreciate, the fact that, the North was giving out the water and the filters and everything.
They can't hear you. Can you?
Oh.
Kareem, this question is for you.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I had a question concerning the water. I heard, well, I know they've been giving out water and the filters, but I was told that, that the lines are going to be replaced in Newark. Has that started already? Okay, I have a question because I live in Hillside, and part of Hillside is right on the borderline. My house is not on the borderline, but it's a couple blocks in. So, are those lines going to be replaced as well? The Hillside lines there?
Yes, so if you pay your water bill, if you get a water bill from the city of Newark, we will replace the line if you get a water bill from city of Newark.
City of Newark,
If you're,
okay.
because we don't service the whole hillside.
Right.
We just service those little border blocks.
Right.
No Crescent,
Okay.
Aldine,
How
Williams.
about Conklin?
Say it again?
Conklin Avenue, is
I'm
Williamson,
not,
is
I'm
Conklin.
not sure about Concord. I don't have all of them in my head
Okay.
right now. I got a lot of stuff
But
going
as long
on.
as they get the water,
If, you,
if
if
the
your
bill
water
comes
bill,
from Newark.
if you pay your water bill directly to Newark,
Okay,
and you're one of the customers that we will replace in the line
okay.
for free.
Thank you.
Here you are, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you. Crystal, I just wanted to say thank you very much for bringing up the issue of unemployment and employment. I think we're all trying to do a better job at actually employing persons who have different abilities. And Mayor Barack, I wanted to thank you just for being so responsive and proactive in your response. I wanted to let everyone know at the Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired, we have a very large vocational rehabilitation program. The focus is on gaining employment-ready skills. We have a training program for persons who are blind, visually impaired, and deafblind in the city of New Brunswick. And we also have what you call a business relations unit. And that unit solely focuses on engaging employers statewide and certainly in the city of Newark. So any additional talks about this, meetings about employing persons with disabilities, we're all for it, and we look forward to being included. Thank you.
Sure. And I want to also acknowledge Amina Bay, who's the Executive Director of Newark Emergency Services. She's joined us but didn't want to quite come to the front. So if you do have any questions for Ms. Bay, she'll be happy to answer the questions as it relates to Newark Emergency Services. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eve Posner. I was meeting some of you earlier at my table. I'm here as a rep for Orcam Technologies, but wanted to include the idea of all sorts of assistive technology that exists for people with vision impairment and blindness who are looking to resume or get into the employment market. There is a very advanced technology that exists, and so a company possibly like PSC&G or even the city of Newark that's interested in enabling some people the ability to work can get assistive technology, maybe paid for by the corporation, to get people back working. There's lots of technology out there. I have some if anybody's interested in learning more, but it's really an awareness thing, and there's advancements that have been made, and I know the Commission for the Blind does an excellent job with some devices, but there are other things that are out there that are wearable, that can be portable and go with people everywhere and do things to help people with VR. So if anybody's interested in discussing that, I'm here, but I just wanted to throw out the reminder that technology exists.
Thank you. I also want to just bring your attention to some of the correspondence that were at the table. Not sure if you got everything, but there is one sheet specifically about the attendees or those that were possible attendees of this meeting. It'll list the mayor, the mayor's aides. So there's one mayor's aide for each of the wards. So because our mayor is extremely busy, depending on what ward you live, you would contact that aide if you have a question, and they'll work on behalf of the mayor. It's a list of all of the directors, their names and their departments. It has a list of the municipal council members, their phone numbers, and also our community partners, some of which are here, the others that confirmed but didn't show up, and their names. Yes, Mr. Jones. Let me bring the mic to you. Thank you.
Normally I end up walking to the mic. But I just want to kind of reiterate on basically what Crystal's talked about. First of all, New Jersey has 259,000 blind and visually impaired people in the state. In addition to that, I don't know the exact number on the deaf in the state, but I do know that 98% of all African Americans who are blind in this state or in this country are unemployed. 89% of all Hispanic, and the number drops as you go down the racial line. One of the key importance of that is the collaboration between the city, the school district, the state, and the county. Because the state has a lot of programs, and the federal government has a lot of programs. Last I known, I don't know if it's changed since Christie's left, the federal government was reimbursing New Jersey 75% on every dollar that it spends on people with disability through the vocational rehabilitation program. And I heard kind of a lot of talk about the social issues that we have, but what I came here looking for also for me personally, for me and the community, blind and the differently able community, is money, economic opportunity. Because there are a lot of programs out here that are not interconnected into what we can do. I mean, the iPhone, I can imagine someone working at the police department, for example, on a 911 call. That person doesn't have to be sighted to answer a call at 911 center. That person could be blind, etc. My point is that we have to find a way to work with Newark. Newark can't do this alone. Newark has to work with the division, the Office of the Disabled for the state, for the county. DHS has a program called the PSAP program that allows people with disability higher assistance. They have the PPP program, the personal preference program, that allows people with disabilities who have a home health aide to convert those home health aide jobs to people that live in our community. But if we don't pull those resources together, I would ask the mayor that he put together an office for the disabled within the city to begin to pull the resources together within the city to work with his the other partners across the state, the same he did with the water, because there's a lot of funds out there, millions and billions of dollars out there to help us accomplish this goal. We can't simply do it alone. And I just want to stress on the fact, I'm 52 years old. I got more years behind me than I got in front of me. We have to do this because of the future. The young people that are coming behind us in the future, they won't have an opportunity to enjoy the America that we want it to be if we don't come together and make sure that Newark is not just 3.0, but is moving forward to 4.0 and 5.0.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Duly noted. Duly noted specifically. Troy has a comment, then First Lady Monroe, and then I'm getting back to my announcement.
Just wanted to say, in addition to PSC&G, I'm also here representing the customer service centers. And like Michelle said, we want to know, in the area of sensitivity, when anyone goes in, that we are taking care of you and responding to you respectfully. So Andrea has a way of reaching myself and Michelle if you are here or you know someone that has gone into a CSC and felt they weren't treated respectfully of the way someone who does not have a disability was treated, we want to know that. We want to, at PSCNG, Customer Service Center, we want to make sure that everyone is treated equally. So please give us the feedback, let us know how we can improve and do better.
Good afternoon. First, want to applaud the mayor as well as the directors and all the staff for your hard work, working through the process and handling all of the crises that have been going on in the city and continuing to move the city forward. Born and raised in Newark, and it's an honor to be here today. Family still lives in Newark, and our ministry is in Newark as well. My question is to housing. There are currently a number of deaf as well as blind residents in the city of Newark that are currently residing in inadequate housing that don't meet their needs according to 504 stipulation. I also work for Newark Public Schools as well, so that's extremely important. My question is in relation to the time frame. We know there's new housing that's going to be going up. What do you think the time frame will be to try to relocate them into appropriate housing that's able to meet their needs? A number of them have been in some dangerous situations, and they don't have, like you said, the proper fire alarms and things and sensors to say that there's a crisis that's going on. So if there's a shooting that's taking place in the community, they're not aware. They're in danger in their housing, and that recently happened even to one of our members of Chosen Generation Ministries that's here on today. Our sister Pat can raise her hand to that and was put in a dangerous situation. So again, what would be the process as far as relocating them to proper housing that would meet their needs so they can be in a place where they feel safe? And again, what do you think the time frame would be in order for that to happen? And also to make sure, as the other young lady said earlier today, that it is something that is affordable, that they're able to afford to pay to live there, as opposed to, extreme costly prices that they may not be able to afford with what they bring in monthly.
Thank you for the question. I think the answer is twofold. One is that I would follow up personally. I'll talk with code enforcement about the need for safer housing and options for people to be able to safely enter and exit their home. So I'll follow up on that item. Second, I'm happy to talk to the individual who was affected, and I can have that conversation privately.
Michelle, come on up.
Hi, this is my first town meeting, so bear with me. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Michelle McCluskey. I am an outreach specialist with a New Jersey Relay and CapTel. I just wanted to speak very briefly about our services. We are approved by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to provide free, equal telecommunications access. So we do have about 12 different relay programs as well as caption telephones. And it is a free service to New Jersey residents that have some degree of hearing loss. So please come over and visit my table, and I'll give you, if you have any questions or if you need any information, I'm here to help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds really good. Free communication devices for New Jersey state residents. Take advantage. There are so many resources available that we just don't take advantage of. So all of this knowledge that you're getting today, please share it. It's not just supposed to stay within you. Share it so others can also take advantage. So I just want you to know I'm signed up for this class. His Hands Ministry presents American Sign Language classes. They are free. Every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., starting on October 19th. If you are interested, there are flyers at the table. You can also see anyone from the Deaf Advocacy Group. At every meeting hosted by Newark People's Assembly, there's also a flyer regarding Newark Forward and how the city and the people of Newark work collectively to achieve an empowered city, a safer city, an educated city, an equitable city, and a collaborative city. This is what our purpose, this is our vision statement for the city of Newark. And last but not least, nope, it's not last, the credo for support. I read through this, and it's a little lengthy, so I don't want to read it now, but they're at the front table. If you will, please take one, read it. It discusses just throughout history, people with disabilities have been abandoned at birth, banished from society, used as court jesters, drowned and burned during the Inquisition, gassed in Nazi Germany, and still continue to be segregated, institutionalized, tortured, abused, exploited, euthanized, and murdered all around the world. Now, here in the United States of America, people with disabilities are taking their rightful place as fully contributing citizens. The danger is that we will respond with remediation and benevolence rather than equity and respect. So this is the credo for support. Please read it. As you just heard, this stuff is serious. And last but not least, yes, ma'am. I definitely will. My apologies for my insensitivity. I will send it electronically. If you are part of the Newark People's Assembly and get our emails, you will receive it before Tuesday. Last but not least, there's a packet that you can get somewhere in your chairs. Others are at the table. This is all about deaf culture, the tips. There's also some basic signing. Hello, what's your name? How are you? And of course, the primary signs, which are the alphabets and the numbers. So make sure you pick up this 3-page packet, pick up a few, pass them along, because we need everybody to buy into, if you will, having an all-inclusive city. So it just can't be the mayor, it just can't be the directors, it just can't be the differently abled, it needs to be a community effort. At this time, are there any more questions for our panelists? Mr. Whitten?
So first I want to preface my statements by definitely thank the mayor for his leadership, bringing out his team, to address persons who are differently able. Definitely want to thank Andrea and Levita because there was quite a few challenges in getting these town halls together, and really appreciate their growth and reaching out to persons. My question is actually directed towards, and of course, there has not been a platform where the mayor of the city has engaged with Dr. Davis, has engaged with the director of the Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and I'm quite sure there has not been this type of platform in the state of New Jersey. So this is a groundbreaking situation. We want this to happen all across the US of A, with Newark as being the leader. But my question is directed to New Jersey Transit, and understanding that persons who use public transportation say when there's not enough apparatus available for blind or visually impaired persons. So say if you're coming out of the train station and you're walking out to the platform where you're catching the buses, you see the signage that says northbound number 1, northbound number 5, or whatever bus it is, it's coming in XYZ minutes. So if a person is blind or visually impaired, they can't see that signage, okay? And then also, if a person is going up to whatever platform, 1, 2, 3, or 4, if a person is blind, they may not know, by hearing, they know that the Northeast Corridor train to New York is going on track number 5, but there's not help in getting them to one of those particular tracks. And also, I want to reiterate on what Lucius Jones had commented, that to work in the call centers, a person can be deaf or hard of hearing, and a person can be blind or visually impaired. And so I want to create an opportunity so that they have the training, to take advantage of those economic opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Witten.
Thank you. I actually work in Access Link, but what I can do is get your concern over to New Jersey Transit and have someone follow up to answer your concerns. Okay?
New Jersey Transit, they have a monthly meeting, correct? At that's held on the other side of the train station that their constituents can address their concerns to? Okay. And so if you can share with Andrea or Levita the date of that meeting, so we can share with the blind and visually impaired and deaf and hard of hearing and differently able people. Okay? Thanks.
I have a question from Ms. Laurel.
So my comment was, I know for New Jersey Transit, they've had an event where they invite mobility instructors from the New Jersey Commission for the Blind to come down and actually, I think, take a tour, or they meet with NJ Transit. What could be helpful is for the disabled population to come down to Penn Station just to get a feel for like where the tracks are, where maybe lost and found, what trains or buses come out to that lane. Oh, sorry. What trains or buses come out to that lane? I don't have to repeat everything, do I? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Noted? Okay, excellent. Ms. Bay, did you want to speak on Newark Emergency Services? Okay. Is there anyone else that has any comments or questions?
Good afternoon. First, I want to thank Andrea at the Newark People's Assembly. I want to thank Mayor Baraka and his office for including Newark Emergency Services for Families with all of the other nonprofit and community-based organizations that they're pulling together to work in a collaborative effort to make sure that we have all of our resources and services readily accessible for the differently able residents of the city of Newark. We are in the process of making some changes to our organization to make sure that we are able to communicate properly to provide the services in the manner that are best suited to the residents and their specific needs. And any suggestions that you have for how we can do this better, please let us know. We have our information at the table here. My cards are here. Ms. Tricia Jones is here, one of our team members from Newark Emergency Services. So we welcome your feedback. And again, we just want to thank the mayor and thank the city of Newark for including us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Ms. Dewdree.
Just a reminder, the cafe, the first Deaf Cafe that will fellowship for all the deaf community, the fellowship there at the cafe, your own sip and paint parties, poetry night of its kind should be open in December, prayerfully. We also had the first Deaf Night Out, which was given, Tyson helped me. I will be holding one every month for the deaf community to make sure we are out there having fun and everything. Third, I'm holding also the first deaf television network in history, which I will provide in news, weather, sitcoms, children's programs, and so much more. So I'm looking for interpreters. I'm looking for anybody that's want to jump on board because I need all the love and support that I can get.
Thank you. Crystal?
So I had two questions, and one of them, I don't know who this would be directed to, but I figured I'll just ask. Well, with all of the great developments in the city, in the downtown area, and just in each ward or neighborhood, shall I say, would there be an opportunity that maybe a descriptive tour can take place so that residents who are visually impaired or blind can know that, hey, Prudential Center is on the same block as Newark City Hall, or and JPAC is near to the Newark YMCA? Something where, you know, we can know more about the places for socialization, professionalism to take advantage of, because if we don't know about them, we won't have the opportunity to visit them. And the second question, I know that this is a series of town hall meetings, and I'm really excited about it. I'm grateful to the mayor and all of you people here who are influencers to come together so that we can come to solutions. And I was hoping that at the next meeting we could invite some of the either hospital directors who exist here in Newark, because one pressing issue that I am learning about mothers who have disabilities, who are going into labor, they experience a lot of discrimination, whether they're deaf or blind. Some hospitals who are not sensitive to knowing about the culture of people with disabilities, right away they're going to, oh, they can't be able to parent that child. So there's been some instances and scenarios that I know personally where a mother would go into labor and bringing in her child, she could be blind or deaf, and won't have the opportunity to take her child home because the hospital is thinking that that mother is incapable of parenting. So if there was an opportunity that maybe some of those hospital directors can be at the next meeting, town hall meeting, where they can learn more about disability culture, and that some people with disabilities are more fit parents than people without disabilities.
So I think I can say good afternoon. Good afternoon, Allison, Ladd. So Crystal, I wanted to first say it's great to meet you today. I know it's our first time getting to be in the same room, and I look forward to working with you more closely. I can answer, I think, the first question and offer time for us to sit down and talk more about ways in which economic and housing development can be more sensitive and inclusive around individuals who are differently abled, but also those that are blind. So regarding a visual tour, it sounds like a great idea. I'm looking forward to figuring that out right away. I would agree with you, not only for you and for others, but also for me. I'm getting used to the city myself as I'm getting to understand neighborhoods and how far things are from each other. So it sounds like a fantastic way to be interactive, and I look forward to working with you on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're about wrapping up, but I would like to call for Mr. Mayor Raj Barak to come on up here for real quick. We just want to do a short demonstration. This is part of his lessons that he has been learning for the past couple of weeks. It's been a great challenge, but it's the small things that matters. It's the small things that matters in life. If you can have a mayor that can sign, a mayor that can talk to his constituents, not having a third party, just simply saying hello, nice to meet you. It is not that hard. If your mayor can do it, he takes time out of his busy schedule and come and learn just 45 minutes a week and just learn little signing. We're going to do a short demonstration for you what he has been learning.
Kudos to Mayor Baraka. Woo! Yes, what's up?
It's that simple. If he can take 45 minutes out of his busy schedule to meet and learn a word a week or maybe 5 words a week, that is awesome. You can take 5 minutes and learn sign language. And it's an amazing thing. I'm hard of hearing. I've been signing since I was 2. So be able to teach, to educate, to empower our community. I can lose my hearing at any given time. I only have 37% in my left ear. So God is a healer, he's a restorer, but that's why I want to make sure I educate, because when I want to communicate to my elected officials straight, he knows or she knows how to sign. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. We love you from Deaf Advocacy.
If there are no other questions, I want to take this time to thank the mayor for staying. I thought he actually was going to leave early. So I thank you for your time and your commitment to the differently abled community. I appreciate you more than you know, just from the inception of the idea of having a deaf and blind town hall meeting and you just giving Levita and I full authority to, do what we need to do to make it happen. Thank you, Mayor. You're the best, seriously. I don't know how to say best yet, but
You the champ. The best.
you the champ. I also want to thank the directors, the police personnel, our special guests, special invited guests, PSCNG, New Jersey Transit, Commission of the Blind and Visually Impaired, of course, the Division of Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Eyes Like Mine, Deaf Advocacy Group. I hope I'm not leaving out anybody. Yeah, no, that goes without saying. Absolutely. Without you, there would be no meeting. Absolutely. Without you, there would be no meeting. So continue to spread the word. One interesting thing I will share. So I get a lot of emails on a daily basis. Some that I share, some that are like questions or comments about the things that Newark People's Assembly is doing. And what I'm realizing, people are not coming out as much because we air it either on Facebook Live or on Newark 78. So if you have any comments or suggestions of how we can further engage people to come out, I would appreciate it, because now that most of our meetings are being televised and people know that they can watch it on 78, they're like, oh, I'll just catch it later and I'll email you. And that's not the point. I don't want the emails later because I have follow-up to do. I want you to ask your questions to the folks that can answer it, and then I can follow up. But I don't need to get your question, try to answer it, follow up, send it, all of that stuff. So for my viewing audience, please come to the meeting so that you can get your questions answered directly while you are here. And to my audience that are present, please encourage people to come out. We have meetings almost every month. The next set of meetings that we plan to have are regarding the plastic bag ban. So we haven't began to schedule those meetings yet, but it does sound like we want to start involving the community and get your feel, whether you want it, what your thoughts are. So just keep that in mind. We plan on having those meetings sometime in October, early November. Yes. 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 Do want to acknowledge Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I did think domestic violence was okay. Acknowledge Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And again, do want to acknowledge Blind Awareness Month. Blindness Awareness Month is all in the month of October. All right, so I thank you for coming once again. Please, there are plenty of refreshments. Take as much as you want. I do not want to pack it up and take it home, but if there is more, I'll just take it to one of the rec centers. Thank you.